You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you for joining me on this Mindset and Motivation Monday, where we're going over exactly how you can and will have your best 2018 ever. And I'm going to tell you why right now. The most successful people I know, they go into every day with a plan. The plan may not always work out exactly how they want, but they plan every day. And so they're going to be so much closer to achieving what they want each day, which leads to then accumulation of weeks and months and then a year that allows them to become successful. So I want to tell you this right now. If you want to have your best 2018 ever, it's not going to happen by chance. Meaning there's literally no chance that you'll have your best year by chance. It will be more of the same. And maybe that's great. Like maybe that's exactly what you want. But maybe there's a few things left that you want in your life that you haven't achieved yet. And I'll tell you right now, they could happen. They could happen just because you're kind of moving along in your life. But most likely, they'll only happen by you going after them. And that's not as scary as it seems, because I've spoken about this before on previous Mindset and Motivation Mondays. And what I talked about was that breaking down your big goals into much smaller steps that are much easier to achieve, meaning that you can digest smaller bites than you can looking at the whole picture all at once. So what I want to do today is I want to share with you some of the fundamentals that I've spoken about before on the Cabral Concept. And that's taking your entire big goal, right? So when I talk about goals, I talk about it in the big five. I talk about relationships. I talk about the family. I talk about health. I talk about our body. I talk about spirituality. And I talk about career. And I talk about those things as pretty much universal. And career is not about a specific job, but it's about what you're doing for your work, your purpose, your passion in life that's moving you forward where you feel like you're growing. And hopefully you're growing in all aspects. You're growing in terms of your health. Your body is changing. You're optimizing it, right? Your relationships are getting better. Your spirituality, you're feeling more connected with whatever that spirituality is. And that your overall growth in life, that's really what it's all about. I've spoken about before. If you want to know what happiness is, you're going to understand happiness when you feel like you're in a stage of growth, or a state of purpose, of evolution, of you becoming better than the you were yesterday. And that's so important. But I'm telling you right now, if we want to have a better 2018 than 2017, we have to do a few things. We have to plan. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick a couple goals, no more than three big goals. Now, they might be so big that we need to break them down over the course of 2018, but don't let that scare you. So I've spoken with a lot of health practitioners over the past couple months, really over the whole year. But over the last couple months, I've gotten to speak with a lot of groups. I've gotten to do podcasts. I've gotten to do many, many great things that I've had the privilege of being able to speak in front of hundreds, if not over 1,000 health practitioners. And one thing I find is this. It is this paralysis by analysis of not knowing what to do. Should I get this certification? Should I go back to school? Should I do this? Should I do that? Pick one thing. Pick what you're most passionate about. Forget about the money. Forget about what am I going to do? What's the starting salary? No. Pick what you love and you will be great at it. When you're great at something, people will seek you out. They really will, because you'll be able to get them results. You'll be able to serve them best if you're serving your highest passion, your highest purpose in life. And they usually go together. They really do. So what I want you to do is, let's just say you are a health practitioner, is just choose one certification. Go for that certification, whatever it might be, whether it's in nutrition, as a health coach, personal training, whatever it might be. And again, if yours is to lose 50 pounds, then great. I want you to choose that 50-pound goal, and I want you then to say, that is my 2018 goal. I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to make sure that I achieve it. And if I were to break that down over the course of 12 months, well, then that would take me approximately 4 pounds per month to lose. That's about 1 pound per week. I can do that. Same with relationships. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means reaching back out with friends, siblings, coworkers, friends of friends, like people you haven't spoken with in years that you may feel bad about for a good reason, meaning like, you're like, I should not have let that relationship start to dwindle, okay? Same with your own partner, spouse, whatever it might be. And I'll tell you right now, is because no matter where you are, as long as one person is willing, they can start to make the change, and that change can be contagious. That's what it's all about. And then in your health, no matter where you're at right now, I'm telling you right now, whether you're looking to just get over the autoimmune issue, you're looking to get over the skin-based issue, you're looking to revitalize your energy, you're looking to improve your digestion, any one of those things, you could do that. 1 year is way more than enough time to be able to achieve that. And then if you're already there, if you've lost the weight, if you are well, then I want you to start working on anti-aging, because this is not something that you wait until you're 70 years old. You start working on anti-aging based principles, looking at your genetics, looking at your telomeres, starting to optimize your own cellular health from really a biological level. When you do that now, every year is going to feel better than last because you're going to have more energy than you did last year. Your mitochondria are going to be functioning at a much higher level. You're going to be producing more output, and that's what it's all about. So now that we know that we just have to choose something, we have to choose something to go after. You can't know if you're having your best 2018 ever if you do not have a goal to shoot for, to strive for. So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be our 2018. We're going to come up with a few, whatever we want. And again, I usually pick one in each category: the health, the body transformation, the relationships, the spirituality, and the career. That's how I look at the whole thing, the whole purpose. And I try to choose one, and then I'm moving through it. But what do I look to do? Well, here's what I do. So the first book that I've taken a lot from, because I used to live this principle before I even heard of the book, but the book solidified it. It really brought it together. So this book is called The 12-Week Year. You know, you've heard me mention this before, and that's okay, because it does not hurt with repetition. Plus, I have one more book to go as well that I want to share with you. So this book, The 12-Week Year, makes sense, and here's why. Every single year for about 5 or 6 years now, maybe even longer, could have been longer, I actually ordered from Amazon. I'm going to link it up today. So literally just go to stevencabral.com/682. All right. I'm going to link everything up, all the books, everything there today. I get this paper 12-month calendar. I put it up my wall. I first mark off all the weeks that I'm going to be away for speaking. I mark off the weeks of vacation that I'm going to be away with my family. So that's basically like, that's high purpose time. I get to speak to hundreds, if not 1,000 people. And then my family time is very, very important to me as well. So that's just really focused time on those specific things. Then I have the rest of my year to look at. And I'm now breaking it down into every 90 days. So the 12-week year is amazing because it lets you essentially live 4 years for every one. All right. So if we look at that, every 90 days is its own year. That means you're not looking to set 5-year goals, or 4-year in this case, 4 years down the road. You're looking to set all of those in 2018. That's why I believe you can really make more happen in 2018 than you ever have for the past 4 years or 5 years, because you're going to be focused now and you're going to have a 90-day goal. So you're going to say, in 90 days, in 12 weeks, I need to achieve this. So if you're the person that was looking to lose 50 pounds, don't wait until November of next year. Don't wait until December. Why? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Because if your mind knows that you have all of 2018 to lose 50 pounds, it will inevitably wait because it says, I have all this time. I'm going to wait until October. I'm going to wait till the summer comes. And then something happens in the summer and you're going to push it off to the fall. And then they're like, okay, I'll wait until mid-November when, Labor Day and all those things are over. No, you can't do that. So you can say, okay, I might not lose all the 50 pounds in the first 90 days, but let me set up myself for success that I know that I can achieve. And I believe I can achieve 6 pounds of weight loss, not 4. I believe I can achieve 6. That's 1.5 pounds or so a week within 90 days. Okay, so 1.5 pounds now, that's per week. That's 6 pounds per month. After 12 weeks or so, that's going to be what? About 16 pounds or so of weight loss, right? 6 times 3, 18 pounds. Okay, so now you're 18 pounds down in that first 90 days. The next 90 days can be a continuation. Now you're at 36. But again, you could have lost much more than this. But if you go with this pattern, then you're going to have lost your 50 pounds within 9 months, not the 12 months. You'll already be there. But remember, you have to start taking that bigger goal and making it part of that, chunk down a part of this 90-day plan. The same goes with career-wise. Let's say you sign up for a certification. Okay, you want to get certified? Great. Now, let's say the certification online is 6 months for a nutrition-based certification or a personal training one. through like the National Academy of Sports Medicine. You give yourself that long to study. Fantastic. Okay, you're going to mark out each week what the study plan is going to be. Going through, let's just say there's 12 modules. You're going to go through a module per week or a module every other week for those 6 months. And then you're going to schedule a test date for 6 months from now so that you have the date already scheduled so that you know, hey, there's a deadline. I need to achieve this by this time. And that's one of the reasons why people get such great results working with a coach or with a deadline. And that's because there's structure, that you have to achieve something by a certain date, and either your coach holds you responsible or a deadline holds you responsible. And again, you could have a spouse, you could have a friend, you could have a coworker, someone that you're going through this with to be able to achieve those goals. So I'm such a huge advocate of the 12-week year that it's a book that I often refer to, especially to all of the mentorship people that I work with. And that's because they have all these big goals and they're all fantastic. But I say, okay, this is what we want to do in 2018. That's reasonable. But what do we want to do over the next 12 weeks? And I do the same thing with health as well. I tell people there's very few people that I can't help them get well within 12 weeks. Are they going to be like completely where they want to be? Well, they may or may not, but they're going to feel phenomenally different. And then after that, we're going to build over that over the next 12 weeks because those red blood cells will have turned over after about 12 to 16 weeks. So now we get a new set. So now we're working with more oxygen, more B vitamins inside the cell, more zinc, mitochondria better optimized. And then we just compound off of that. And that's why I tell people, it is not a lie. I'm not kidding you when I tell you that right now, I feel better now than I did in my 20s, and I feel better now than I did as a teenager. And that's because I've done things specifically each and every month to get me better optimized. And that's really the bottom line. That's what we're talking about. So what I want you to do is with this 12-week year, I want you to think macro. All right. I want you to think macro. What am I looking at? And then I want you to go to this calendar, this big 12-week calendar, or this big, I should say, 12-month calendar, broken down into 12 weeks or every 3 months. So you have January, February, March. What are you going to achieve by the end of March? Then you have April, May, and June. Okay, that's your second 12 weeks. July, August, September, that's the third. And then October, November, December, that is your final 12 weeks of the year. And again, if you look at it that way, this also is very liberating. It's very freeing. And that's because people try to achieve so much in the short term that they get overwhelmed and they just stop doing it all eventually. Basically, they say, I want to do this, this, and this. And it just seems like so much, and then they just stop. But if you look at it and you say, okay, I want to achieve this, this, and this, and you say, all right, all in good time, I'll achieve this in the first 90 days, then this, and then this. And you might say, oh, well, that's a whole year. I don't want to wait that long. Trust me in this. If you've been waiting the last 4 or 5 years and telling yourself the same thing every year, what's going to make 2018 different? It's not. You're going to feel overwhelmed the same exact way. So give yourself the time, focus on one major thing, maybe 2 major things, at the most 3 over 90 days. Work on that, achieve it, then don't let it go. Just build off of it that next 90 days. When you do that, you're going to feel a sense of accomplishment. You're going to feel better self-image, and you're going to believe yourself. You're actually going to believe what your thought process is when you say, I'm going to achieve this next. Why will you believe yourself? Because you just set yourself up for success by achieving the previous thing that you just said you would. So now the second part is this. I don't want you to just be a goal achiever. I don't want you to be a robot that simply lines up the pins and then just knocks them right over like in bowling, okay? That's great. I want you to do that, but I also want you to live a life of fulfillment. I want you to live a life where you feel like you have some control. I work with so many people in my practice with low-level anxiety, if not completely overt anxiety. And I help them in a multitude of ways. One is I change their body chemistry, right? So I look at gut function. I look at how that changes a person's actual mindset. Because we know if the gut is not functioning properly, you're getting signals from your gut to your brain. Your gut's actually called your second brain, telling your body something's wrong. So we optimize that. We optimize electrolytes. We optimize if there's heavy metals, we remove those. We do all sorts of different things to optimize the body in terms of minerals and vitamins and what the body needs to function at its best. Okay, so we do that, but then also that's the biochemistry part, right? But we also have to look at the lifestyle. And a lot of people have this low level of anxiety because they are going through life basically on autopilot, and it's day in, day out, almost like Groundhog Day. Wake up, go to work or get the kids ready, do this, do that. By the time you get home, you're stressed, you're tired, maybe you have an hour with your significant other, and then you go to bed and then you just do it all again. And it's almost like you're living for the weekends, but then all of a sudden the weekends, you have all these chores to do. You have all these things to accomplish. You have to get this ready. And by the time Sunday rolls around, well, you have to get ready for work the next day. So you never feel like you're making any headway. And you're probably saying to yourself, this isn't what life's not supposed to be about, right? This is not what the game was supposed to be. We were supposed to somehow go through life, become what we wanted to grow up to be, and start to enjoy ourselves. But that doesn't happen. And the reason is this. We realize, or I should say we forget, that it's okay to take care of ourselves. We're lost in this pattern of either taking care of our children, our coworkers, what our boss wants us to do, what our significant other wants from us, and we lose track of that we're important as well, that our needs matter. And that's why I always go back to this, that this quote would change the world if people live by it. Not the quote by Gandhi, that's also great, be the change you want to see in the world. That's great as well. But there's a better one than that. I truly believe it. And because it's more altruistic, almost from a selfish-based standpoint. And here's what it says. It's by Jim Rohn. I'll take care of me for you if you'll take care of you for me. I want to repeat that. I will take care of me for you if you take care of you for me. And here's why I say that. Here's why I always go back to it. We're always trying to ask the other person, what do you need from me? How can I help you? Because we want to help others. I think truly most people are good people. They don't always act in the most appropriate ways, but they're doing the best that they can, okay? So we're trying to help others. We want to help these other people. We see them in pain, but truly the only person that can help that person is really them. We want to be there, support them, but if everyone looked out for themselves just a little bit more, we'd all be happier. And you know that you feel happy if your significant other feels happy. You feel happy if your parents are happy. If your kids are happy, you feel happy. But how do we get that? Only if they're happy. And how do they get happy? Only if they make themselves happy. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by feeling like our life is our life, that we have some control over it. And if we have some control over it, all of a sudden we feel like we're getting to do a little bit of what we want to do. And so the next book I want to share with you is called The Perfect Day Formula. It's by Craig Ballantyne. I actually know Craig. Craig and I go way back. And he's doing some amazing work now in the field of personal development. And I think one of the great things about Craig in this book is that it's all about structure. And I've talked about this for quite some time. A lot of people believe that structure is the antithesis of freedom. But I completely disagree, and I know Craig would feel the same way. Structure provides freedom. Most people wake up and just go about their day getting pushed like a pinball machine from side to side, just being bounced around based on other people's needs. And that does not allow them to have the time built into their day for themselves. And I've spoken about this before. One of the most important things that I did to change my life was go to bed at the same time within a half hour every night and wake up within the same half hour every single day. And even more than that, I stopped all input 1 hour before bed at a minimum. And also, the most important thing I did was I didn't start my day under like the firing of a gun, like the alarm signal of my alarm clock blaring in my ear. What I did was I gave myself 60 to 90 minutes to ease into my day. Yes, it meant waking up earlier, but believe it or not, I had more energy because I wasn't firing off my norepinephrine, adrenaline, and cortisol at such a high peak first thing in the morning, trying to race to get out the door to make it to my first appointment or be stuck in traffic or whatever it might be. I changed my life when I eased into my day. And I had to do that. I had to wake up earlier because here's why. Most of the world likes to sleep in, but most of the achievers wake up early. And they do that, and this is why. Because they know as an achiever, they're serving some other person in some way, whether it's their career, their family, whatever it might be. But in order to serve themselves, they have to wake up before the rest of the world because that's the quiet time, okay? A lot of people stay up late at night, but the quiet time is somewhere from like 5 to 6 in the morning, 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning, 5:30 to 7 in the morning. One of those times, and again, if you have no time for yourself right now, take back a half hour. I know that 60 minutes or 90 minutes seems completely insane right now, but if you take back just a half hour and you use that half hour for a little exercise, a walk with the dog, a little bit of yoga, some stretching, some meditation, or just making a healthy breakfast, you're going to be able to better ease into the day. Or maybe you just leave for work a half hour earlier, arrive for work earlier so that you're not worried about all of the traffic. That's a great place to start. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So what I say is this, I literally, and I work with people with this modality all the time, I want them to completely structure their day. Right now, if you look at my iCal, you look at my calendar, it will have blocks of time. It will have focused blocks of time for about 90 minutes for writing. It will have another 90 minutes or so for podcasting. It will have that amount of time for video-based work. Then it will have big blocks of time for seeing wellness clients. It will have meeting blocks of time. My workouts are scheduled into my calendar. Everything is scheduled. And here's why it's scheduled. That may seem like, oh, well, that's too rigid. It has to be rigid. If you're someone that achieves and tries to do a lot in life, you have a lot of things you have to accomplish. And that you'll only feel stressed if it's not scheduled. Meaning like, I know I'm going to get my workout in because it's scheduled. And if someone wants to set up a call or a meeting during that time, the answer is typically going to be no. And it's not being selfish. I have to give myself what my body needs in order to be best then for everyone else. Okay? So yes, there's sometimes exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, this is when I work out. This is when I have my team meetings. This is when I do my phone calls. I even have this is when I do my emails. One of the things that Craig writes in his book, and I'll see if I can actually find that page for you, he says that in order to have your perfect day, you need to write down what you're not going to do. And what Craig writes down is this on page 61, do not hit the snooze button when you wake up. That is super important. I can't go into all the details why, but that will allow you in the long run to not be groggy. So important. Do not check email first thing in the morning. So important because now you get all the negative emails. You don't want to get sucked into that. You want to start your day positive. Don't answer the phone every time a call comes in. Don't mindlessly surf the internet. Don't waste your time gossiping or arguing with colleagues about non-work related topics. Don't consume food or drink that makes you tired or unwell. I mean, these are just great things that you need to start to live by. Another thing that I really like that Craig wrote, this is on page 75, is called the 10-3-2-1-0 good night formula. And I really like this. So basically, Craig is saying this, 10 hours before bedtime, no more caffeine, okay? So for most people, that would be somewhere around noon, all right? No more caffeine after lunch. 3 hours before bed, no more food or alcohol, okay? So your body can then be really moved through digestion. The food's out of your stomach, and it can then use that energy to just calm the body down to the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm ad-libbing for Craig right now, but I'm sure he would say the same. 2 hours before bed, no more work. 1 hour before bed, no more screen time. And then the number of times you'll hit snooze button in the morning, 0. So that is the 10-3-2-1-0 formula. Fantastic formula. So those are some just great tips right there. One more thing that I want to share, because I'm not going to go through all of Craig's book right now, but I do really recommend you get it. And here's why. It's only about 150 pages. It's a very easy read. You could read this in about 1 or 2 nights. And the reason why I'm giving this before January 1st is so that you can get the book and you can start to live it. You can start to, again, you're not going to be perfect. I don't want you to be perfect. Craig's not going to assume that you're going to be perfect. What you need to do, though, is just be better than you were last year. And then halfway through 2018, if you're following my 90-day plan as well, you're going to be even better than you were the first half of the year. And then you're just going to get better and better. That's what compounding improvement is all about. That's what growth is all about. I've told people before, there is no end. There's no end goal. The goal is that you do great work, you have a great life, you try to serve others, you just keep moving closer and closer to whatever your purpose is. That is growth. That's what it's all about. That is synonymous with happiness. Another thing that I really love from Craig's book, page 134, he shares one of his visions. I think it's so important that you create a vision for your life. What do you want your life ultimately to be about? A lot of people talk about, what would you want read at your funeral? What do they say about you? It's one thing to think about, and because you really have to start with the end goal in mind and then work backwards. And this isn't an ego-based thing. This is about trying to create a life of purpose. So what you're doing is you're creating a vision for your life. You want to achieve this for your family. You want to create this type of legacy. You want to give your children the best of this. You want this for yourself. You want to transform your body for whatever reasons. You want to create a life vision. What do you want to be about, right? What do you want your children or your coworkers or your siblings or parents or whoever, what do you want them to say your life was all about? You create that vision, or maybe it's just more introspective. Maybe it's for you. And that's great as well. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no wrong answer here. All you need to do is look at this from your perspective. And what I want you to understand as well is that you're not carving this out of stone. It can change at any time. And that's why when you're creating your perfect day formula, what you're really doing is you're saying, I wake up at this time every day, okay? For the first hour of my day, I'm doing this. And I'm going to give you my morning routine again in the future, okay? Then I start with this. You go to the coffee shop to do your writing or whatever it might be, and you're going to do that for 90 minutes. Then we'll say at 10:30 a.m., that might be the first time you check email. So again, you have to start to work out your exact day. Now, I'll tell you right now, my Monday and Thursday are exactly the same. My Wednesday and Friday are very similar. Those are the days that I see a lot of people. And my Tuesday is a little different as well. So I have different days. My perfect day is actually different for all 5 days. It's a lot like me, right? I have different interests. So each day kind of reflects that. I do a lot of different parts of my work, my career, my life. And then I have my end caps. I start my day, though, exactly the same way, and I end my day the same way. I'm home for dinner with my family. I give my girls a bath. I read them a book before bed. We put them to bed. And then my wife and I have our own quiet time, okay? My beginning of the day is quiet time. No one's awake in my house, all right? It's very quiet. I love that. I love the peace. I love the solitude. I go out before basically the rest of the world has woken up. And that's when I do my thing. That's my time for whatever I'm looking to achieve and accomplish. And again, so I have the structure. That's the perfect day formula. But now I use my 12-week year to tell me what I should be working on and working towards, right? Hopefully that makes sense? Meaning like I'm working towards something in my profession, my growth, but I'm also working on something, maybe it's the springtime and I start to now begin more training for sprint triathlons that I want to start to do in the summertime. So now my workouts change. So hopefully you can start to see none of this is written in stone, but what you need to do is start to create blocks of time for yourself, schedule the ideal day for you, knowing that you're going to implement this for 12 weeks. And then at the end of 12 weeks, if you need to recalibrate, that's okay. It's to be expected because life is always throwing new things at you and you're responding, but always with the concept that you are making time for you, because as you become better, you're better for everyone else. I was not better for everyone else. I was not living my life's purpose when I had no energy, when I had brain fog, when I was in pain. I was not at my best. And actually, I would say I was at my worst. My relationships were at their worst. I was not a good person because I felt terrible. I was irritable all the time. It's kind of to be expected. If I feel terrible, I'm going to kind of act terrible. And that's why we have to be gentle always with other people. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know what kind of pain they're in. So I'm telling you right now, you can take away a lot of your own pain, a lot of your own anxiety, along your own suffering by starting to focus a little bit more on you. I'm telling you, if you do that, doesn't have to be a lot of time, but if you do that, you're going to be so much better for everyone else in your life. And I'll tell you right now, if you follow this plan, if you start to look at the 12-week years, each 90-day period, and focusing on what is your ideal day, right? What means the most to you? What do you need to accomplish? How can you carve out a little bit of time for yourself? Not only are you going to have your best year ever in 2018, you're going to have the most enjoyment you've ever had in your life. You're going to actually feel like your life means something and that you're working towards something that you were destined to have. That's like this was the life you were meant to live. And that's what it's all about. That's what I want for you. So I'm going to link up the planner that I use, the Epic Planner that I've spoken about before. It's the #1 daily planner that I recommend. I'm going to link up the 12-week yearbook, and I'm going to link up Craig's The Perfect Day Formula. I'm telling you right now, this is kind of like the starter pack, right? These are all the things that I use in my own life that I can wholeheartedly recommend. And these are from hundreds of things that I've used before in the past. I've kind of whittled it down. That's what I try to do in the Cabral concept and just give you the absolute best of the best. Thank you everyone for tuning into this Mindset and Motivation Monday. I truly appreciate each of your listens. And if today's show can help anyone, please do me a favor. If you can share it with them. I really want everyone, I truly do. I really want everyone to make this coming year, 2018, to be their best year yet. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.